Joining us now from Washington, Fox News Channel, turning the pro-choice phrase around to promote gun protection for women. What do you think?
You know, I don't really get it in terms of why that would be a pro-choice thing. I think that we look at the issue of gun control and say, what is the best thing for society? And that, in my opinion, I'm probably in the same place as the congressman, though I think he should have answered your question. I don't know why he didn't answer it. But that we have to have some laws that restrict guns a little bit. I don't think it means we don't want to protect women or to have women protect themselves. I just don't think you need an assault weapon to protect yourself.
All right, but I mean, Moran is a little bit more than the assault weapons, and it was a valid question, and it was posed in a provocative way. I agree with you. I don't know. There's no comparison toward choosing what to do in a pregnancy and choosing what to do, you know, in protecting yourself. That's apples to oranges. However, women will be put at a deficit in some places if, like, for example, Chicago would ban all handguns. Well, if you're a woman in Chicago and you want protection, particularly if you live in a bad neighborhood and you can't have a handgun, your deficit is much higher than a man would be. And so I think that's what the woman was getting at.
You know, that's her opinion, but I'm a woman and I don't have a gun and I feel safe. So
yeah, because you live in a swanky neighborhood. If you lived in the south side of Chicago, you wouldn't feel safe.
That's not true, and I've lived in dangerous neighborhoods before, very dangerous neighborhoods, and I never had a gun in those neighborhoods. It's quite, even though my father wanted me to have one, and
well, that was your choice, but another woman may choose to want to have protection.
Well, but she's going to have to choose in a way that comports with the law, and I just, you know, I don't think, I think that within cities, if they make the determination, I lived in New York City for a long time.
I think they're putting women in more danger than men, just by the physicality of the situation.
What would be my motive in that situation, Bill? Like, why would I want
to protect yourself from somebody who might do you harm?
Why would I not care about women protecting themselves? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, you don't seem to be equating the fact that it's easier for a woman to protect herself with a gun.
Yeah, well, because I don't really think that you necessarily have to have a gun to protect yourself.
I didn't say you have to have it.
There's other things you can use. You could use pepper spray, for example, and you're much less likely to kill a stand-byer.
Wait. I didn't say you had to have it. I said it should be a choice to be able to protect yourself should you choose, like the woman in Virginia.
I reject this whole choice thing. I reject it when used for abortion. It's a silly argument.
I told you the abortion thing was not valid,
but even now, this idea
I'm saying
that people
you're dead wrong on not allowing women to have a choice to protect themselves. I think you're dead wrong, pardon the pun on that. And I gotta go. I gotta go to Ashley Judd. You know this Ashley Judd? You know who she is? You like her?
I know who she is. I do like her.
Okay, so she wants to run for Senate in Kentucky, and they're trotting out some quotes that she said that she'd never have children because it was selfish. The quote is, "I figured it was selfish for us to pour our resources into making our own babies when those very resources and energy could not only help children already here, but through advocacy and service, transform the world into a place where no child ever needs to be born into poverty and abuse again." I think that's going to sink her in Kentucky because it's basically saying, listen, if you're not a well-off person or affluent person, you shouldn't have a child because you're going to be born into poverty.
That is
a lot of poor people in Kentucky.
No, that is not remotely what she said, and I don't know if the whole quote is there, but I
read you the whole quote.
Okay, well, when I read it, she made a specific reference to orphans. And she was clearly talking about the fact that there are a lot of children in this world.
I do not need to be making babies. I'm not going to have a baby because there are a lot of orphans.
Right,
but interestingly enough, she hasn't adopted any.
But who's to say she's not? She's not that old. I mean, she can still adopt. I know people who adopt babies in their 50s and 60s.
Let me get this straight. In a traditional poor state like Kentucky, where family is very big, you don't think this is going to hurt her?
That's a separate question. It's a very Republican state. I think she'd have a hard time anyway. But I just want to be clear. What she's saying is that she thinks in a world where there's so many children who need homes, she feels like, why not adopt instead of having a baby?
Why doesn't she do it then? Why doesn't she adopt?
She's
a wealthy woman. She can adopt anytime she wants.
Maybe she will. Maybe she will. I mean,
doesn't stack up. It's going to hurt her. Going to hurt her. I think it's going to sink her. I think this quote alone on the babies.
Well, I think if it's misinterpreted, it might. But if it's taken in the spirit it was meant, I don't think it